As a newspaper reporter, Julia Dean knows what it means to work fast. That pace, however, hasn't translated into her personal life. She has never married, but is quick to tell you that wasn't her idea.
I would have preferred to have been married.
So, with her biological clock ticking, she decided to take a different path toward fulfilling her desire for motherhood through adoption.
I was getting older. It didn't look like Prince Charming is going to show up real soon. And I thought if I'm going to have a family, I needed to start this now. So I began the process and got a little girl from Kazakhstan.
Okay. That little girl was 22-month-old Vika. Now she's 4.5, and as you can see, quite a handful. But Dean doesn't seem to mind. In the past several years, Christian adoption agencies have seen tremendous growth. Many in the faith community have mobilized like never before to heed what they believe is a biblical call. In answering that call, Dean was surprised when well-meaning Christians discouraged her, saying that only married couples should adopt.
It was awful. I got very little support from the Christian community. Actually, the people, I had a few evangelical friends who supported me, but on the whole, most of them said, well, why don't you get married? And I was like, well, sure, yeah, I'll go to Macy's and pick out some guy.
The dream of a happy family begins for many women as early as childhood. Yet more and more are moving to adopt instead of waiting for a husband. In the article, Adoptions Single Christians Need Not Apply, Dean shared her experience. Christian groups report that there are 132 million orphans in this world, she writes. If so, there are over 100 million single persons over 18 in the U.S. alone, 1/3 of the population. I think it's safe to estimate that at least 1/3 of all adults in a typical U.S. church are single. Why is it verboten to mobilize the unmarried so they too can nourish and bring up children? I recently posted a question on Facebook, should singles adopt? And as you can see from the number of responses we've received, people on both sides of the issue have had a lot to say. Ellen writes, I believe God's heart is for every child to have parents, but he also created marriage as the means of procreating. So any single person who's thinking about adopting not only needs family members to help them, but they need to be convinced they're ready and that they've been given a green light from God. Erica says, I know the ideal situation would be for a child to have 2 parents, but I think having one parent with a lot of love is better than being in foster care. If we want to offer women alternatives to abortion, then more people need to pitch in to help take care of these children. Most adoption agencies consider specific qualifications in prospective parents. There's age, income, and when it comes to marital status, couples are usually preferred.
I think it's legitimate for us to uphold the natural family as an ideal, but to uphold the adopted family with a married mother and father as the ideal for children who do not have the blessing of being raised by their natural parents.
Peter Sprigg of the Family Research Council believes kids receive huge benefits from being raised in a 2-parent family over living with a single parent.
It is important for children to have the role modeling of the male-female relationship that they receive from living with a married couple. They learn how a man treats a woman and how a woman treats a man. They learn what that relationship is like.
In the end, he says, it all comes down to what's best for the child.
We always do need to bear in mind that adoption exists for the benefit of children whose natural parents cannot raise them. Adoption does not exist for the benefit of adults who wish to be parents and are unable to have children in the context of marriage.
As for Dean, she knows she may never marry. She admits it's not easy raising a child alone, especially with such a demanding career. Little Vika doesn't seem to mind one bit. She's just happy to have someone to call mom. Charlene Israel, CBN News.